I don't know what it is about this season, but it's like we're getting flooded with new prospects getting called up every single week. And I mean, I love it. We're going to try to keep up and not just keep up with who's been called up, but continue to get ahead, beat the breakout, and pick up some of these prospects before they get the call. But let's start with Matt Shaw, a guy that, okay, maybe was a little overhyped to start the season. I'm guilty of it. I was all in on Shaw. I drafted him a lot of places. And I stashed him still when he got sent down because I knew this would happen. It was just going to be a matter of time. And here we go. Matt Shaw on Monday getting called back up, starting at third base and hitting ninth, unfortunately. But look, okay, beggars can't be choosers. You got to prove yourself first, Matty. So even though the Cubs are having no problems on offense, scoring plenty of runs, there's still kind of a hole at third base because that combo of John Birdie and Vidal Brujan, and then they had Nicky Lopez, that utility guy who he was DFA'd to make room for Shaw. I mean, they want Shaw to be the guy. He should be the guy. He wasn't early this season, but remember, this was a very small sample. I understand why they made the move. I mean, he hit 172 in those 68 plate appearances to start this year, but also the fielding. I mean, he committed a couple of bad errors, and he just didn't look ready. So he got the reset, and I think that's all he needed. It's not a given that he produces just because he's getting called back up to the big club. I think he will. I'm still keeping him wherever I got him, and I'm adding him if he's available because it is definitely worth your roster spot. Again, worst case scenario, he scuffles. It just doesn't happen for him this year. You cut him, and then you move on. After really kind of a slow start at AAA, once he did get sent to the minors, he has picked it up big time. In fact, back-to-back two-homer games just this past week against St. Paul. And he's going to be able to, and it's actually a nice way to ease into his retaking of the third base position. Gets to play the Marlins to start this week. Some prospects that have yet to debut and could be on the horizon very soon. I mean, the big one here is Marcelo Meyer of the Boston Red Sox. Yeah, I've been talking about Roman Anthony all year. Kind of tired of telling you about Roman Anthony. We know he's an auto ad if he gets called up, but I wonder if Meyer will actually come first. And not that he's performing better than Anthony at AAA, but it's all about position, right? And we know there's a big hole at first base with Tristan Casas done for the year. So it's interesting what has happened now. Like, that doesn't help Meyer. He's not a first baseman. All of a sudden, they're experimenting with Christian Campbell potentially taking some fielding work at first base, see how that works. Campbell does not profile as a first baseman, but desperate times, desperate measures. I guess they're going to try Campbell at first, and that leaves a space in second base for, well, maybe Meyer, or if they decide to keep him at shortstop, then maybe Trevor Story moves over to second. This year at AAA, Meyer has 7 games under his belt at second base, but 29 are at shortstop, and that's his natural position. We'll see how this works. I mean, maybe the whole Campbell to first base thing gets scrapped anyways. But regardless, there's going to be a time where you figure Meyer makes the big club. He's doing pretty well at AAA, hitting 264, 8 homers, and 40 RBIs, and a sub 20% K rate. That's what you want to see. This is one of their top prospects. If it weren't for Roman Anthony, he would clearly be the number one guy there. It's just a matter of time. And, Trevor Story has managed to keep that shortstop job, and he was great early in the season. He has cooled off big time, and we know there's injury risk there. So, all things considered, at some point, there will be a space. So, definitely keep Meyer close on the radar. And maybe the same will apply for the Nats and Brady House. Brady House actually came up originally as a shortstop after he was first drafted, but has basically just become a third baseman. That's where he played all season long so far at AAA. And the bat is coming around. This is a young player. They don't feel necessarily that they want to rush up. But come on, right now, they have so much young talent in place at almost every position. But at third base, they're just kind of rolling with Jose Tena. He's been all right, but really this is a guy who's supposed to be a power bat, and he has shown almost no power. So far this season, Tena is hitting 244, 0 home runs. Not an apples-to-apples comparison, but at AAA, House showing at least some power, 282 with 8 homers and 24 RBIs in 180 plate appearances. But he's definitely got the upside for far more. And look, with Dylan Cruz getting bumped off the prospect list, House is the number 1 prospect in that Nationals farm system. So I feel like midsummer might be reasonable to, just give a little bit of more of a leash to a guy like Tena, or see what they can figure out at third base and see if House is ready. If you're still looking for pitching upside, I mean, we seriously have to take a hard look at Cincinnati these days. I mean, they've got plenty of young arm talent there. Which ones will pan out? So far, not so good for Chase Petty, but don't forget about Rhett Lauder. Yeah, he already made 6 starts for them last year, and I mean, it was shockingly good. Not just shocking that his ERA managed to be at 1.17, but how do you have an ERA that's better than your WHIP? That was surprising, 1.27 WHIP, but also the fact that he managed to pull that off with a 6.3 K minus BP percentage. Hardly getting strikeouts, and the walk rate was still high. I don't really know exactly how he did manage to somehow keep an ERA that low, but needs to say he needs to show a little bit more this time around. So Lauder's been on the IL for a lot of this season. He's finally made a couple of rehab starts. First one on May 6th for the ACL Reds, which, look, I have to say, I understand it stands for Arizona Complex League, but ACL is the worst name possible for a baseball team. And then a second start for the Dayton Dragons, not the Daytona Tortugas, unfortunately. And then up to AAA for the Louisville Bats. His starts have actually gotten progressively worse. His last one, he only lasted 1/3 of an inning and gave up 4 runs. So he's still got some work to do, even though he is on the way, you would think, moving up levels and making multiple rehab starts. He's obviously got to iron out some of these kinks in his delivery. So it will happen. We're going to have to probably wait a couple more weeks for him to return. But look, even though a lot of last year's success was pretty fluky, this is one of their top prospects, number 2 in that system. He's got the arm talent. Again, he's got some major league experience here, so I think Lauder could be a sneaky ad pretty soon. And then, I like to sneak in a non-prospect once in a while. But Gerard Encarnacion, who's with the Giants organization now, I mean, he is still a guy who's pretty much unproven at the major league level, has missed a lot of time due to injuries, and so he might be on the way not only back but up with the club sooner than we expect. Might have had a chance to compete for that first base job out of spring training, but fractured right hand has kept him shelved. Up until a week ago, he's finally on a rehab stint. Encarnacion, back in 2023, when he was a member of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, because he was in the Marlins organization, hit 26 home runs at the AAA level. And then last year at AAA, for the Giants organization, 352 with 10 homers, got the promotion. He did all right. He handled himself fairly well, hit 248, showed a little bit of power, but just again, has not had that consistent playing time, the chance to really fully break out, and maybe this will be his chance because let's face it, the Giants need to do something at first base. Look, Lamont Wade, who's supposed to be the righty killer, he's killing the team, right? He's hitting 158 on the season. And then the other guy who's playing a lot of first base was David Villar. Oh, they just DFA'd him. He is gone. Called up Casey Schmidt. He's just a utility player. I don't think Schmidt is going to be the answer for them. So pretty soon, I expect that we would see Encarnacion up with a chance to really hold down that first base job. Maybe not even a platoon because honestly, Wade is probably the next to go. So even though Encarnacion has been up with the club and he's 27 years old already, not even 200 plate appearances at the major league level, we're waiting for him to break out. Could be the second half of 2025. All right, you know what to do. Start stashing, grab those prospects and those young players. And don't forget, I already talked about some of these young players who have already broken out. And what do you do with them? Are they legit or not? That video is right here.